What's going on? So this is a video I wanted to make because I feel like every single person in their 20s either should do these things or you shouldn't do these things. And this is actually really important to me because I don't know, like I kind of live by these rules, and I just wanted to see how many people my age, right now I'm 28, and I've been living by these rules from like 20, like from early 20s straight up until like my current age right now. And these are like non-negotiables that I just genuinely feel like every person in their 20s should at least know or should have an idea of this. I want to start by giving you guys 12 and then one bonus one, which would be like 13. All right. So the first one is stop eating like shit. Most people, they genuinely just don't realize how badly they eat when it comes on to eating a bunch of processed food, random bullshit, fast food, things like that. And it's just kind of crazy because your 20s is the time you get to shape your future body, right? So most people don't realize that your 20s is just your foundation. Like that's just the foundation of your body itself. And like you have your 30s left, you have your 40s left. These are all ages that you're setting up your future self to live, right? So if you eat like shit from your 20s, when you get to your 30s, 40s, 50s, you're gonna have like problems and complications like diabetes, hypertension, high blood pressure, cancer. Like these are the things that caused by just how you treat your body at your 20s. So if you don't do this, then you're genuinely setting up yourself for failure. And I just don't see why people would do that. So the first one is actually just stop eating like shit, right? So if you can control that by just trying to eat more whole foods, like try to cook, try to meal prep. And it's just crazy when I see this because people don't understand how important it is when you actually pay attention to the things that you put in your body and pay attention to how your body reacts to certain foods, right? This is just very important when you're trying to live an abundant life and just be able to have as much energy and perform at your best. So the second one on this list is just drinking more water. So this is something that I actually struggled with when I was younger. And it's just since I became 22, 23, I started drinking like a lot of water because I just realized how much water helps you and like how important it is for like energy and performance when it comes on to just drinking water by itself. When it even comes on to like your skin and how your skin is, the amount of water is what actually affects that, right? So like if you don't take care of how much water intake that you're doing, you're not giving yourself the amount of water like your body needs to like perform optimally. So this is just something that you genuinely have to do. And you have to start getting into the habit of drinking more water, and the type of water is actually important to you. You can't even be drinking like tap water and all these things. Like you have to basically try to get as the best water as possible, like alkaline water or just like mineral water, like just good stuff like that, you know. And if you don't curate these things from earlier, these are the things that just you're shaping yourself to underperform basically. And these are just practices that I just feel like anybody should at least know themselves, right? The third one I feel like is very important as well. It's negative friends, right? So this is something that I actually take really serious because every single person know that the people who you have around you, the people who you actually invite in your life, these are the people who's gonna shape who you are, and it's gonna shape the personality that you have, right? So when you have negative friends, when you have people around you that you basically, everything to them impossible. Like you tell them an idea and it's impossible. You show them how to do something and it's impossible. Or it's just like they have no motion, like they're not even trying to do anything. You know, they're not trying to work on anything. They're not trying to build anything. So friends like that, you can't have around you because they stifle your performance, right? You want friends that help you build stuff. You want friends that can, like, they're having their own motion so they can help you with what you do, right? Because right now for my current business where I do cars, I have a lot of friends that they're in different types of business. So because I rent cars, I would have friends that do insurance. I would have friends that have dealerships. I would have friends that just do car mechanic work and just stuff like that. So all those things directly affect my business, and I give them customers as well to affect their business. So it's just so crazy because just by you having friends with motion and you having friends that are already doing their own shit, it's like it set you up for success in so many different ways, and some people just don't even realize how important that is, right? So this is just something I take very serious. So number 4 is asking your parents for help, right? Asking your parents for help. Oh man, like, what are you doing? Like, I feel like once you get into your 20s, you shouldn't be asking your parents for help, because if you ask your parents for help all the time, you're kind of not giving yourself any time to become independent, and you're not allowing yourself time to grow, right? So because you can't be hoping that your mom save you from everything. You can't be hoping that like your dad come by and just save you. You can't be asking them for money to do things. Like when you want to move out, when you want to get you a new apartment, when you want to get you a new car, you can't be asking them for help to do this, because the feeling isn't going to be the same, right? When you do something solely independently, when you do things solely on your own, these are the things that empower you to do more things in the future, right? So when you constantly ask your parents for help and you constantly invite other people to basically just solve your problems for you, you're genuinely not giving yourself any opportunity to grow. So it's just, I feel like it's just very important on the list, and it probably should be the last one, but it's just important, right? So you can't, so as early as possible. I feel like I stopped asking my parents for shit when I was like 17, right? And around that age, 17, 18, I just became independent on my own, and just seeing how much it shaped my life, it's just that I can't even believe when I see other people doing it, because if I never realized that this was a problem, it wouldn't even be on this list, because I just thought that everybody knew that, right? So it wouldn't even be on this list because of how just straightforward I think it's supposed to be. The 5th one on this list is stop obsessing over brands, right? So stop obsessing over brands is something that I actually take very serious as well, because you're kind of wasting your time when you obsess over different brands and you obsess over just like different things that people shouldn't even care about, right? So when it comes on to just you basically saying, okay, like I like this Gucci shirt, or I like this Louis Vuitton pants, or things like that, like it's very stupid, because you can't be obsessing over brands, because brands aren't, it just doesn't matter, right? Like, say for instance, you're obsessing over some Louis Vuitton hat. The owner for LVMH, he doesn't even know you exist, right? This guy doesn't even know that you exist. You're like a speck of dirt to him, right? So when you sit down and you obsess over brands, you're basically spending so much money and spending so much time focused on this other person's work, and then your work is still undone. I just don't see the point, and I don't see the reason to just simply obsess over brands. So I think the 6th one on the list here is stop lying and make up things for attention, right? So people who lie and make up things for attention, it's like they have a special place in my heart, because I just genuinely don't see why, and I don't see why people would force themselves to do that, right? Because when you basically make up things for attention, you're kind of bringing the wrong light onto yourself. And then what you actually do is you have to consistently follow up with these things. When you can imagine you're wasting so much time focusing on something fictional, when you actually could be building something for real, or like creating stories on real events that actually happen, right? So most people, they just waste the time, and this might even just sound like a bunch of bullshit to you, but it's just very important, because this is not something that, it's like you can't look over it, right? Because how you do anything is how you're going to do everything. If you don't pay attention to just the things that you invite in your energy and things you invite in your life, then you might end up spending your 30s and your 40s being just a person who just constantly making up things and constantly doing things for attention. And then when you actually go around smart people who actually have their brains on their body, like they can easily tell that you're like a bullshit guy. So it's just, when it comes on to things like that, only your dumb circle might think it's cool to just make up things all the time and like continuously do things for attention, right? When you go around other elevated people with like real motion, and just people with just actual intelligence, right? When you go around these people, nobody is making shit up, bro. Nobody's gonna be like trying to be like, oh, like he's a liar. No, like once they figure out that you lie once, That's just it, and nobody cares after that. Like you're just a dirt. And I think basically the seventh one is obsessing over sports teams. This one I don't even get myself. Like I don't personally watch sports. Like I know people who they genuinely obsess over sports, and they genuinely obsess over like all the things that happen with sports teams, basketball teams, football teams. I know some people who know every single football team, they know every player on the team and shit like that. And they just sit down and waste so much time worried about these sports teams, and it's just, they're not building anything for themselves. So I never understand why people do this, but I just feel like when you're in your 20s, these aren't things that you actually should be focused on. You should be just focused on building your thing, right? Every single time. So don't be obsessing over no sports teams. Don't be obsessing over no players. Like I could never wear like shirts with fucking players' names on it, right? Like I see people doing that shit where they would obsess over just player names, and they would have that shit on their shirts and things like that. And I'm just like, bro, it's just childish to me. So I see that stuff and I'm just like, nah. All right, so number 8 is stop obsessing over influencers and artists, right? So artists like rappers and influencers, these are things that I honestly I don't even understand why people do it either, because it just simply doesn't make sense. Like, why would you obsess over somebody else's life when like yours is not where you want it to be, right? I genuinely don't see why somebody would just obsess over rappers. I used to like rappers, don't get me wrong, I don't see anything wrong with rappers, but I genuinely used to think that rappers are cool until like you start realizing that they are regular people and they're just not that smart. Because once you start focused on like doing things like building businesses and having intellectual conversations with people and just talking about different things like concepts and systems, you understand that like most rappers don't do this. Like, and I'm not saying like rappers are stupid, I'm just saying, why focus on somebody else's thing when they're literally telling you in their songs that they're richer than you, they're better than you. So why would I focus my life on praising them? Like, why would I waste my time on going to concerts to watch somebody, to like stand up and watch them? It might not make sense to you right now, but eventually it will, because when you really look at the fact of like a concert, right? You go there, you stand up, you listen to a guy sing, you listen to a bunch of people like repeat songs, right? And then you rub up on people and then you go home. It's just, I've done it so much that I just realize how unnecessary and unimportant it is. So it's just like me getting older and getting up into my 20s, I just realized that these things are super irrelevant, right? So I actively like just don't know why people do it, but I don't know. Once I got to like what, 24, 25, I started realizing how unnecessary it is. I didn't even care anymore. I just stopped caring, right? Secretly building a business or structuring a lifestyle. I feel like every single person in their 20s should actually be doing that or focused on something like that. So if you're not secretly building a business or like structuring a lifestyle, you're kind of wasting time. You can do stuff like, basically, say for instance, you're just a person who you have a normal job. It don't even matter if you work a job or if you have a business or anything. If you're not building a business in your spare time or doing something in your spare time, then every single day life just goes by and then you're actually wasting a lot of time. If you don't realize, or if you don't do something about that, then you might look at your life in like fucking 10 years and you realize that, oh shit, I should have been once you finally get it, once you get to the age that it finally matters, and most people, it don't matter to them until they get to like 30 or 35. Once you get to that age, you're gonna realize how much time you wasted. You have to secretly build a business or structure a lifestyle. So say for instance, you're a person who you're not interested in business at all. You don't know how to build a business. You don't know how to structure anything. Instead of, if you just want to work your job and if you just want to do just that, you can do it. But guess what? It would be very smart to say, oh, okay, I'm gonna save the money from my job. I'm gonna invest in buying different properties in different places, right? Say for instance, you can continue work your job and you just buy a property in like a different country or a different state. That's you structuring the lifestyle. Because when you get to a certain age, if you do so many down payments and like have so many properties now, you don't even need a business. You don't even need anything. You know that you can fly to this house and you can have somebody rent it while you fly to your next house, and you can have somebody rent it, and you can basically just have a lifestyle where you're able to travel, you're able to do things, you're able to visit other places and just be in different locations with a good life setup from just doing the things that you actually want to do, right? So most people feel like building a business or doing something else is just the only thing you can do. It's really not. It's just how you set up your lifestyle. I know people right now who never built a business before ever, and they have a great lifestyle just because of their life setup. And their life setup is just what they do when they're not at work, right? The things they put their time in when they're not at work. And most people, they don't even realize how important this is. And it really is important, right? So the 11th one is how you keep your car and house. I just feel like this one is super important as well, because how you keep your car and your house is just what I would use to judge you, right? Most people, they keep their car fucked up and they keep their house or their rooms fucked up. It's just things like that to me is just not like cool, because you have to keep those things cleansy. You have to have a good environment, right? Because if I go in somebody's car and I'm driving in your car like, say for instance, I ask you for a ride and I go in your car. If your car looks like shit, I have no respect for you. Like, I'm not gonna have any respect for you. I'm gonna think you're like a fucked up person. I'm not gonna trust you either, because I genuinely feel like if you keep your car fucked up, then you don't care about me, right? If you keep your house fucked up, you don't care about me. So like, you're gonna keep all these things fucked up, but then you're gonna just not, you're not gonna care. If you don't care about your own shit, you won't care about my shit, right? So I won't lend you my car. I won't give you my thing, because I don't trust you. Because how you kept your car and how you kept like your place is what I use to judge you. So number 12 is, you say it, do it. You say something, you do it. Like, you say you're gonna do something, you just do it. You don't go back on your word. You have to just be true to your word. Like, your word is your bond. You can't get up and just change the things that you say. You can't make a promise to somebody and then just go totally backtrack on that whole thing. You have to curate the things that you say. This is why I don't like make certain promises, because if I say something, I have to do it. And I don't like making promises that I can't keep. So that's genuinely why it's important. And once you practice this in your 20s, this is what's going to shape who you are going in your 30s and going in your 40s. Most people, they don't realize that once you practice not giving a fuck, once you practice being dishonest, once you practice like not maintaining the things that you say you're gonna do, then you're just gonna create like a loop wormhole for yourself where people are not gonna trust you, because you say you're gonna do something and you didn't do it. You make a promise that you're gonna do something and you didn't do it. So you have to take care of that. When it comes on to the, alright, sorry, that was number 11. This is number 12 actually. So this is number 12, where it's grooming yourself and keeping clean. I genuinely feel like this is another important one that most people, they look past. It's not something that people say, okay, I'm a clean person, blah, blah, but what's your version of clean? You know, you have to groom yourself consistently. You have to constantly take showers. You have to constantly brush your teeth, and you have to just constantly improve yourself every chance you get when it comes on to your body and just doing certain things. When it comes on to just taking care of yourself and just making sure that you're as healthy as possible, that's just very important. Number 13 is having like a good exercising routine. That's the final one that I actually want to talk about. Final one is just always training. Always train, always taking care of your body, always maintaining your actual health, because it's so important where you don't realize how exercising, just running, and actually taking care of your body, how important it is and how much it's going to shape your future self. So I see people who just genuinely don't take care of themselves. If you can do that, you don't realize that the time is catching up on you. Don't wait until you get to 30, 40, 50 and in. You eat so much junk food, you eat so much bullshit that your body just takes shape of this now, and it's just hard to return. I see people that they're just trying to work off years and years of just eating like it. And to be honest, it's not hard. If you practice from in your 20s and you just maintain and you actually just input the gym schedule in your normal schedule, you don't even have to be no big fitness guru influencer person or nothing like that. You genuinely don't have to. You just could just do small workouts in between and you just maintain it for the rest of your life. That's just how it is. Like, that's how I see life. I don't have to be like a fitness guru or a fitness influencer or anything like that. You just want to do just enough so that you can have like a good body and perform well when it comes on to physical activities, right? So that's it for now. I genuinely feel like once you're in your 20s, all these things should matter to you. And if you don't see anything that matters to you, then you know that you have a lot of things to work on. So I don't know. Don't take it from me still. Like, I'm still in my 20s, so I don't know everything, you know, but if I missed anything, just let me know in the comments. If you like this video, just let me know. This is just something that I feel like every person in their 20s should know. But don't forget to subscribe below. All right, see you in the next one.